Hello and welcome back to my channel and welcome to this week's edition of Sketch Sunday, where my friend Crystal from Pineapple Papers and I revisit Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life, her 30 Days of Sketches series. Christy did 4 series and she has a playlist over on her channel with 125 videos which contain all 4 series. And what Crystal and I have been doing is randomly selecting one of those sketches and revisiting it every Sunday. And we've now had some of our friends choose the sketches for us. And this week, it's my lovely in real life friend, Anne-Marie Marcoux, coucou Anne-Marie, who chose the sketch by choosing a number between 1 and 125 so that we could just go in and see which sketch that corresponded to. And it's this lovely page map sketch from the second series from January 10th, 2018. It's a fun multi-photo. And the photos here are different formats. They're smaller, not 4x4, not 3x4, not 4x6. So in the sketch, they are 3.5 by 2.5, which is not what I will be doing. But for the rest of it, I think I stayed fairly true to the sketch, a sort of vertical type design. I guess mine is maybe a little spread out, a little bit more, but basically some rectangles, squares, some circular elements to soften it all. A couple of little clusters. I modified the clusters a little bit as well. But so here, oh my goodness me, so you won't be proud of me. So here's the heart from when I originally liked, I guess, Christy's post on Instagram. And I took that, as I was making this layout, I took that as part of the sketch, which if you look, it really cannot be. It's right smack over a photo, but anyway. But it made this lovely cluster, which I actually quite like. So there you go. There's my little silliness for this week's video. I used my Indigo and Ivy collection, which was a kit from the Secret Not Secret Kit Club that I got back in July. And that was a very large kit because my lovely friend Becky from My Creative Life had added to it and sent me via Christina a little bit more, so she made my kit even bigger. So I'm still, I think Indigo and Ivy might be 2019's favorite collection. It's just gorgeous. So I worked with the 12 by 12 paper here on the background. This was a tough decision because that would be gorgeous as well, but this paper went more with what I was trying to accomplish on this layout. I use the 6x6 paper here as well for my circular elements. And this sort of olivey green paper is from my stash. It was just on my desk, a little bit of a scrap from Stampin' Up. So if you look at the sketch here, it sort of looks to me like there's some stitching around the circular elements. Now, I'm still in the midst of my little work marathon. It finishes on Wednesday. Oh my gosh, Wednesday the 15th, my last day of the marathon. And I will have been going since the 16th of December with only about 4, maybe 5 days off in that entire period. So I'm looking forward to an extra long weekend. Anyway, so this looked like stitching to me. So I really didn't have time to do the stitching, but I like the texture that it adds. So I did 2 things. I did one, some stenciling here on the background. I used a Vicky Bouton stencil, which is a stencil I'll be using throughout January. And I used it with some Shimmers pasties. And it was actually quite thickened up and a little bit hardened up, but I did manage to still spread. It was still spreadable. So PSA people, texture paste has a best before date for sure, but I did manage to get some on here. And then I also used 2 sizes of dies in the same cut so that I would get sort of this ring. So to me, I got a little bit the same effect as the stitching. I got some texture and I got a thinner circular element. So that's how I fulfilled that part of the sketch. So I got my mixed media down through the stenciling, then I got my circular elements down with, this was a sort of, I took to be a rectangle of pattern paper, 2 little strips of pattern paper here just to sort of mimic this cluster a little bit, and a couple more rectangular pieces of pattern paper here from the 6x6 paper pad. And this one I went quite a bit paler because I felt otherwise the pictures were just sort of fading into the background and there wasn't really enough differentiation between the different pattern papers. Now I could have, and I should have probably inked all my edges here. That would have given a little bit more texture and oomph, but I didn't really think to do that. So I got all of my paper elements down, and then I started playing with my photo placement to try and get it reasonably close. This one is at the same spot, although my photo here is bigger. It's closer to a 4x4 and it's square as opposed to the rectangle. But I think I still managed to mimic the sketch fairly well. And these photos are of New Year's Day. So the first snow of 2020, not really, I cheated a little bit if I want to call this the first snow of the season, because we did get our normal and requisite mid-November minor snowstorm, about 10 to 12 inches or so, but it all melted and went away. And then quite frankly, we really didn't get any more snow until the 1st, which is quite abnormal for us. But I'm still calling it first snow of 2020, or first real snow, or maybe the first snow to be staying, because it's still there. I'm recording this on the 9th of January, and it is a frigid, frigid day today. Mind you, they're announcing crazy. They're announcing rain and 6 degrees, which is crazy for us on Saturday. Anyway, I digress. So I got this photo down. Then I started playing with the placement of these 2 photos, and I tried to do the overlapping. Mine are portrait as opposed to landscape. This just was, I tried all sorts of iterations to do the overlapping and get these in a place where I wanted them to, and I couldn't. So I opted in the end. I put this photo down first so I would have it where I wanted, which dictated the placement of this photo. And there's just a little bit of a gap here. So then I had an awkward gap here. So I went into my stash and got a little bit of washi tape, this gold glitter washi tape, very thin, put a strip here, and a strip there, so that I would sort of, again, have my little, I work in visual triangles. So got that down, got my title down. And then I started looking at a little bit of embellishment. That's where I thought this was part of the sketch. And I put this heart down, this lovely cork heart. And I do like it. I actually, it does fit perfectly there. And I guess with my photos being a little bit different, it does. I mean, this part overlaps a little bit. This overlaps just the tiniest bit on the photo. But I think it works perfectly. These are from Spiegel Mom Scraps. I've had these in my stash for quite a while because I don't believe Jody has cork in her shop anymore. So I put this one down, and then I had 2 smaller ones. So I put this here just to sort of, there was a little bit of a portion here that didn't have any mixed media, and the papers were finishing a little bit awkwardly. So I put another one there, and then just did, there we go, triangle, and put one up here. I then had these lovely wood veneer snowflakes that were on my desk in my wood veneer bowl. So I got those out, and I really liked this overlapping the heart a little bit. So I went up and did exactly the same thing here. But this one is larger, and it didn't really fit all that well there. So I'm going maybe a little bit more diagonally here, but it fits perfectly here. So I put that there. And that just about does this sketch. What do you think? I think it's fairly true. Now, I look here, and maybe there was a little bit of stitching all the way around, which I didn't do. I think maybe I will go back. What do you think? I think I'm going to go back and either add a few Nouveau drops or some sequins. I think maybe sequins. I think I'm going to go back and add some sequins. What do you think? So there you go. So please don't forget to go and see Crystal's video. And I love her videos, and I love her spontaneity, and I love, I just love her voiceovers. So please, for the layout and for her voiceovers, just don't miss Crystal's video. Christy's channel is also linked below so that you can go on the playlist, and Christy will be joining us when she can throughout the month, and I think she might be joining us next week if I'm not mistaken. And if you would like to play along, just tag us. If you have a video, let Crystal and I know, link us to the video. If you're on Instagram, tag us. On Facebook, tag us. On Instagram, if you're using this sketch, you can use the hashtag 30DSCBL2. You could always use the hashtag Sketch Sunday. Thank you for being here, and we will see you again next week with another sketch. And next week we will be having a guest as well joining us. So see you then. Thank you for being here. Bye.